You know that feeling when a fundamental concept, something you thought you totally understood, just gets completely flipped on its head? Well, today, we're doing a deep dive into something truly mind-bending, seriously challenging. We're going to explore this framework, right, that suggests the entire universe. I mean, everything from gravity to free will operates not on approximations like we usually think,
Yeah.
but on exact integer-based computations. Our sources are calling this a unified field theory of exact computation. Quite a claim.
It really is. And we'll be pulling together insights from, well, several fascinating sources. We're looking at demonstrations of something called a resurrection law, a fresh look at thin magnets.
Found the magnets, okay.
Yes, that's the term used. And we'll see how it connects to integrating a gravity operator and then this really expansive concept, the omega framework.
Mm-hmm.
The mission here really is to show you how all these seemingly separate ideas might actually converge into one cohesive and crucially exact model of reality.
Okay, let's start with Fibonacci. Many of us know the sequence, those beautiful spirals in nature, sunflowers, galaxies. But this framework is saying it holds a much deeper secret, like a key to exact computation and perfect reversibility. How do we get from that sequence to a universal mechanic?
Well, it starts with what one source calls the exact recursion paradigm, using those very Fibonacci numbers. And this is set up in direct contrast to what it labels the Greek approximation paradigm, the one relying on continuous floats, irrational numbers like phi, which is about 1.618. That approximation approach inherently leads to rounding errors.
Right, you always lose a bit of precision.
Exactly. But in this new paradigm, everything truly essential is done purely with integers and exact rational numbers. We call the set of rational numbers. It's a huge shift. Moving away from this inherently fuzzy approximate view to one of absolute computational certainty.
So no more rounding errors, no little decimals trailing off forever. That sounds incredibly precise.
Mm-hmm.
But then, this idea of resurrection, we're talking about numbers, I assume, not the usual meaning. How can a lost number, like a lost state in this sequence, be perfectly recovered without knowing it beforehand?
It's actually a very elegant demonstration of what they call perfect reversibility. It's a core principle. So imagine you know two Fibonacci numbers, but you're missing the one in between. Let's say you have f sub n minus 1 and f sub n plus 1. So the missing one, f sub n, is just f sub n plus 1 minus f sub n minus 1. Simple subtraction.
Okay.
It's an exact immediate recovery. No information is ever really lost within that recurrence relation. It's this beautiful algebraic invariance that guarantees you can always perfectly restore the past state.
Interesting. The sources also mention a Jana cycle and biological rhythms. How do those fit into this exactness picture?
Right, the Jannah cycle, and Jannah is a term from Islamic tradition, meaning paradise or bliss. It describes how Fibonacci dynamics behave when you look at the modulum. So you're taking the sequence and just looking at the remainders when you divide by some integer.
Okay, like clock arithmetic.
Precisely. And this creates what's known as the Pisano period. It generates a finite, perfectly cycling dynamical system. Think of it like a closed loop. There's zero drift, and the state is recoverable step by step backward.
No information loss again.
Exactly, which implies no increase in entropy, a perfectly reversible system. And the approximate ratios, things like 53, 85, they serve as a kind of gentle biological rhythm proxy. They show the sequence getting closer and closer to that value. But here's the crucial point the source makes. As logic becomes more exact, chaos collapses into structure. What looks random or chaotic might just be complex, exact structure underneath.
So for centuries, we've learned that constants like phi and her are irrational. They go on forever, no repeating pattern. That suggests approximation is baked into reality, right? But what if that's just been a continuous mirage, as the source puts it? What if reality isn't built on fuzzy numbers?
Well, this framework, which is called absolute certainty physics, it completely reevaluates that. It presents not as some fundamental irrational constant, but as the exact rational ratio fn plus 1 fn. Specific exact fractions, like f divided by f is exactly 53, f over f is exactly 85. All the math is just pure integer arithmetic in her, the set of rational numbers. No need for floating point approximations, no errors, just absolute precision.
Okay, as a ratio, I can sort of see that, but FN,
Yeah.
that's a huge one to reconsider. Our understanding of circles, spheres, rotations.
Yeah.
It all hinges on, what happens there.
Yeah, it's fundamental. But here, the sources propose something called hexagonal perfection. In this system, isn't that never-ending irrational number? It's assigned the exact value 3 for all rotational calculations.
Just three.
Exactly 3. It works by using hexagonal symmetry, ingeniously, to maintain perfect precision in calculations involving rotation or circles. Think about the implications. Architecture, mechanics. A universe built on this would have this inherent perfect precision. We wouldn't need the approximations we use now. And this idea extends into something called rational trigonometry.
Rational trigonometry.
Yes, where concepts like quadrants, which is q equals x squared plus y squared, and spread, that is replacing sine squared theta, are used. These allow all geometric calculations to stay purely within rational numbers. They avoid the whole issue of irrational trigonometric functions altogether.
Wow. This really feels like we're not just, tweaking the math, but rewriting the entire rulebook for physics and mathematics. It's like finding out the universe speaks this secret, much simpler language that we just kind of missed.
I think that's a good way to put it. This perspective suggests that the continuous physics we thought we saw, classical physics, was maybe just a mirage masking the underlying rational truth. Yeah. Every apparently smooth curve, every irrational constant, every transcendental function, perhaps they were just hiding these underlying rational relationships that can be computed with perfect precision using only integers. It's a total shift from approximation to absolute computational certainty.
All right, let's try to see this exact algebraic physics in action then. How does something fundamental like magnets work? Magnetic fields look so smooth, so continuous. How does that fit with discrete, exact steps? It feels, well, counterintuitive.
It does initially, but the sources describe a simulation, okay? And in this simulation, what looks to us like smooth magnetic field rotation is actually 24 discrete hexagonal steps.
24 steps, not a smooth turn.
Correct. It's not smoothly varying like our intuition suggests. It's clicking through precise, calculable stages based on that hexagonal geometry we mentioned, and the intensity of the field. That uses Fibonacci ratios, not continuous sine waves. It demonstrates how these classical phenomena, these seemingly smooth fields, can actually emerge from exact finite algebraic relations. It's kind of like an illusion of continuity, like a movie is just discrete frames shown fast enough.
Okay, that makes some sense. Yeah. What about light then? Photons. Are they also part of this exact discrete computation? Or are they still those weird quantum wave particle things?
Yes, even light fits in. The framework makes a distinction between virtual photons and real photons. Virtual photons, it says, are always present in magnetic fields. They act as exact algebraic operators that mediate the force. They don't carry energy away themselves.
Oh, okay, like messengers.
Kind of. Whereas real photons, the ones we detect as light, are described as discrete energy packets emerging from exact Fibonacci-timed acceleration cycles. So the key insight here is that neither type is some mysterious quantum thing or a continuous wave. They are precisely computed emergent properties of these exact algebraic rules.
So let me see if I'm getting this. The universe isn't just following rules, it's actively computing itself step by step with perfect precision, like a giant, flawless computer program.
That's exactly the idea. The simulation is presented as a proof of concept that classical physics is actually the emergent manifestation of exact finite algebraic relationships. It asserts quite boldly that the universe computes itself using exact arithmetic. There are no approximations in nature, only in our limited tools and perspectives.
Only in our tools.
Right. So reality, in this view, becomes a formally verified, drift-free computation running on the exact arithmetic of groove. Formally verified meaning provably correct, drift-free meaning no accumulated errors over time. It suggests all that fuzziness we see in experiments isn't fundamental uncertainty. Maybe it's just the result of looking at a perfect digital reality with our analog measurement tools.
We've touched on exact numbers, electromagnetism, but the big one, gravity. The force that shapes galaxies holds us to the Earth. Does it also fit into this exact computational picture, or is it still, the realm of Einstein's continuous space-time and approximations?
It absolutely fits, according to this framework. The gravity operator is integrated right into the absolute certainty physics, or ACP, framework, and it's described as a certified recursive operator.
Certified, what does that mean here?
Certified means its operations are provably consistent, they're reversible, and they're predictable within the framework's rules. So it transforms gravity from what the source calls an opaque approximation into a force that is reversible, computable, and certifiable. Its effects can be perfectly tracked, calculated, and even reversed within the system.
And I'm guessing it also uses Fibonacci numbers and rational math, just like the magnetism stuff. The consistency is pretty striking, if so.
Yes, exactly. The gravity operator is defined using discrete Fibonacci integers and exact rational arithmetic. For instance, the gravitational constant, g, isn't just measured. It's defined as g equals f sub 7 divided by f sub 8 squared. That works out to 13 over 21 squared, a precise rational number.
Wow.
And even masses, like a central mass m, might be defined as f sub 8, which is 21 units, and an orbital mass m as f sub 5, which is 5 units, derived right from the sequence. And crucially, all values remain in the realm of rational numbers q. And again, ARBS is treated as exactly 3 in these calculations. It's all part of one coherent, self-consistent mathematical system.
This sounds like a complete rethink of fundamental forces. Are there other basic operators, then, in this ACP framework that follow this exactness rule?
That's a really important point. It brings us to what the framework calls the 3 certified operators. These are the building blocks. First, there's the butterfly operator. It's for amplification forces, using Fibonacci integers to model things like growth or expansion. Then, the slingshot operator. This one handles elastic collisions, ensuring exact conservation of momentum and energy, all using rational arithmetic. And now, the gravity operator joins them, completing this kind of foundational trio, handling gravity with that same exactness and reversibility.
I also saw a mention of a universal engine. What's that about? Are these 3 operators like parts of a bigger machine?
Yeah, in a metaphorical sense. These 3 operators, butterfly, slingshot, and gravity, they combine to form what the framework describes as a complete computational cosmos where all forces are reversible and certifiable. The source declares that chaos and instability have been transmuted into certified servants operators with exact, reproducible power. So the engine represents this idea of a cosmos where every interaction, every force is precisely computed, perfectly reversible, and inherently stable because it's all built on that foundation of exact rational math.
Okay, this framework is making truly huge claims about physical reality itself, a universe like a perfect algorithm. But then, what if this exact computation goes even further, like beyond physics,
Yeah.
to things like the purpose of life, free will, even eternal outcomes? That's shifting gears quite dramatically.
It is, and that's exactly the territory of the Omega framework, which one source explicitly calls a computational theology. It attempts to model divine determinism through exact rational computation, and it positions the Quran as a central guide for humanity within this computational view of reality.
Okay, wow. How does it possibly connect the Quran's guidance, the purpose of life, with these exact calculations we've been talking about, a state-based system? It feels like it's trying to bridge faith and pure math very, very directly.
Well, according to this framework, the Quran's main goal is to make humans aware of God's creation plan and the purpose of life. It divides life, as you know, into the pre-death period of trial and the post-death period of reward or punishment. It asserts humans are eternal creatures and our actions now determine our fate later. Within this model, Jannah represents that state of eternal bliss, paradise, and Jahannam represents the state of eternal punishment or hell.
Right, and how does that become computational? How do life choices literally slot into a mathematical equation that determines where you end up?
The core concept is the state engine. Think of it like tracking your spiritual state. You have an initial state, S sub 0. This state then evolves based on a chosen recurrence rule. The sources give examples like righteous growth, where your state increases, maybe like a Fibonacci sequence. S sub n equals S sub n minus 1 plus S sub n minus 2. Okay, or there could be decline, where it decreases. S sub n equals S sub n minus 1 minus S sub n minus 2. Or maybe just stasis. S sub n equals S sub n minus 1. But here's the critical part. It integrates guidance input, E sub external of t, representing divine guidance, say from the Quran. And it includes a free will function, FW of t.
Free will as a function.
Yes, representing your conscious choice at any time p to accept or reject that divine guidance. So the state update law, how your state changes, is given as S sub n plus 1 equals S sub n plus. The product of your free will choice, FWT, and the external guidance input. Your choices literally become numerical inputs, variables in this cosmic computation, precisely changing your state value.
So our choices, they literally compute our future state, leading to an internal outcome. Like we're, I don't know, programming our own destiny within this divine algorithm.
That's precisely the claim. Paradise and hell, Jannah and Jahannam, are described as absorbing states in this state transition model, meaning once your computed trajectory enters one of those states, you stay there. The framework is very clear. It, quote, computes eternal fate. It does not merely predict it.
It computes it, not just predicts.
Correct. The sources even give scenarios, like Righteous growth with full acceptance of guidance, where free will always chooses accept, leads computably to jhana. Conversely, decline with full rejection of guidance, always choosing reject, leads computably to jahannam. And there's even stasis with partial acceptance, which could lead to a sort of intermediate state, stasis. Each path is shown as provably computable based on that state update law.
This implies a really, really profound determinism then. If everything is computed, predictable, given the start state and the free will choices, is there genuinely no randomness, no chance at all? Not even like at the quantum level that physics talks about.
The framework is unambiguous on this. It strongly asserts the power of determinism, it states. There is no randomness. Probability is a measure of human ignorance, not a feature of reality.
Wow, probability is just ignorance.
That's the view here. It posits that if you knew the initial state and the entire sequence of free will choices made, the whole future path is provably computable. And it loops back, interestingly, to that earlier resurrection concept. It says resurrection is state recovery via algebraic invariance for soul, just like it was for a Fibonacci number. Perfect recovery of the state is possible because the computation is exact. So this computational theology, as it's called, it aims to tie together the power of exactness, determinism, state, and justice into one single, seamless, and yeah, for many people, quite startling model of existence.
Wow, just wow. We've gone from the simple elegance of Fibonacci numbers to potentially how the very fabric of reality works, magnets, gravity, and then incredibly all the way to the purpose of life, our choices, eternal outcomes, all seen through this single lens of exact computation. It's like a journey from pure math to metaphysics, almost like discovering the universe's actual source code.
It really is a framework that challenges us, fundamentally, to rethink the continuous world we normally perceive. It suggests that everything we see as complex or approximate or even random might just be an emergent property, an outcome of underlying exact, discrete, rational relationships. It's a profound shift away from approximation towards absolute certainty, where every single phenomenon from the tiniest particle interaction to the largest cosmic structure is precisely computed and perfectly accounted for.
Yeah, that idea that reality itself is a formally verified, drift-free computation running on the exact arithmetic of seed. That's definitely something that will stick with you. It could really redefine how you view everything around you, couldn't it? From the smallest thing to the biggest questions. So think about that final part. If our universe truly is this precise computation, and if our choices are literally modifying our own state variables in a way that computes our future, it makes you wonder, what are you computing with your choices right now? Especially knowing that in this view, the framework computes eternal fate. It does not merely predict it. How might even just considering this perspective change your daily state transition?